And we really, really value the perspectives that new people or people in other fields bring to the community. So you guys, we are super excited you're here. I started to say there's about 18 of you. It's a little complicated on counting because there's some people who are buddy alums and they're not technically a buddy this year. They were buddies last year and they decided to come back again. So they may join in some of the buddy activities. Last year, if you can, mute your mic because I'm getting a little bit of echo, and soon it will be your turn to talk because I'm going to start with a round of introductions. So anyway, we're super excited to have buddy alums coming back. The only buddy alum I see right now is Pati. She was at the conference last year. Last year, she helped us organize our legislative visits, and she may say a little bit more about that. And she's doing that again this year. So she's a buddy as well as helping organize some parts of the experience. So I do want to turn it over to each of you to introduce yourself. And, we want to know who you are, where you work. I don't need the do in there. What your role is at your workplace. What you probably will bring, the lens you'll bring for the conference. I'm going to talk a little bit about NSF and Circle a little bit more. So I'd just love to know how familiar you all are to begin with. So if you all know quite a bit, I don't want to spend too much time. If you're new, then I want to spend a little bit more time. If you've been to any of our Cyberlearning meetings already, this will be our 6th one. We're pretty excited. Let me know if you've been to any of them. And then if there's anything you want to get out of attending Cyberlearning 17 that you know of ahead of time, maybe it's something personal. Maybe you've always wanted to meet a certain person. This conference is very friendly. We will make sure that happens. And you should feel free to make sure that happens too. I guess that's sort of personal and professional as well. So, what is it you want to get out of it professionally? So I will go around and call on people because, like I said, if you're in gallery view, there's a little button so you can arrange, so you don't just have to look at the one speaker. You can see everybody at the same time. If you're in gallery view, everybody has a different view of who's where. So I'm going to call on people and go around, and I'm going to go around in the order on my screen. So James is the first one. So James, you want to take us away?
Yeah. Can everybody hear me? Okay, cool. So I'm James Planey. I kind of mentioned it earlier. I am down in Urbana, Illinois, Central Illinois, and I'm the technology coordinator at Urbana High School. I started off there teaching biology and AP Bio, so my background is in science education. And so I've worked with some NSF-related projects and some NIH stuff in the past. Circle is still pretty new to me. I got pulled into this because I'm helping a professor at the university with student data collection here at our school. So that's kind of how I got pulled in on that end.
Great. And I should probably, I'm not going to put it on the slides, but I should probably ask if you can go ahead and say who you're working with. You're working with Rob Lindgren.
Yeah, Rob Lindgren, exactly, yeah.
And
so one of my big hopes is, I've worked with Rob pretty closely. I'm excited to kind of get a bigger slice of everything that's going on. So kind of get up to date on everything that's going on in terms of research in educational technology, things like that. I've liked the work that I've helped with Rob, but I'm excited to see everything else that's going on.
Everything else is a tall order.
Everything, exactly.
So good luck with that. We will talk about that shortly.
The gist, yeah.
Pati is next on my screen. Do you want to go?
Yes. Hi, I am a graduate student at Pepperdine. Judy's my dissertation chair and Patty's on my committee. And I was at the conference last year, really enjoyed it, and I'll talk a little bit about that, I think at the end, Judy, or when do you want me to do that?
Whenever makes the most sense. I'm imagining you'll be interjecting along the way. And if there's anything you want to say now. And what do you teach? Did you say that?
I teach computer science, and I'm the Dean of Studies at a school here in New York City, an independent school on the Upper East Side.
Great. Deborah, you're next on my screen.
Hi, can you hear me? Mm-hmm. I'm Deborah Silvis, and I'm in Seattle at the University of Washington. I'm a PhD student in learning sciences, and I work with Katie Hedrick-Taylor, who invited me to Cyberlearning conference. And I work with her, I'm her research assistant on her Mobile City Science Project, which is a partnership between the University of Washington and the New York Hall of Science in Queens and the Digital Youth Network in Chicago. However, my dissertation research is not on that project. Kind of the lens that I bring is some research I did last summer working with families in their homes and thinking about how parents are designing their homes for kids to use technology.
Really interesting. Very cool.
Oh, and I'm excited I don't know much about the Cyberlearning group or Circle, but I am looking forward to making new friends.
We try really hard to be a very friendly conference, and we very much encourage getting to know people. I've been working on creating online communities, and Circle's not just an online community, but both Patty Shank and I, Patty, you want to wave, have been working together for about 20 years in doing this. We were the co-founders of an online community for teachers and teacher professional development back in 1997, a long time ago. So we've been really thinking a lot about how to create and encourage good community for collaboration. And the Cyberlearning community has been a dream because people really want to work together. It's very interdisciplinary, and people are just wonderful folks in there. So hopefully it will all be a wonderful experience for you, Deborah. Helen, you're next on my screen.
All right. Hi, everyone. So I'm actually really surprised, James, that I have not managed to meet you in person yet, because I'm from the University of Illinois as well. And I work with Wai-Tot Fu in the computer science department. And I believe he's just started a collaboration with Rob Lindgren on that very project you're describing, I think. So that's interesting. But yeah, I'm a third-year PhD student. My research focuses on game-based interventions for training children's spatial reasoning ability. And yeah, I've never really attended a conference like this before. I'm not familiar with CIRCL or anything like that. Wai-Tot invited me to come to this, so I'm excited to just meet other people in the field and find out what sort of research is happening and sort of discuss the unique challenges that each of us are facing in our research projects. I work with children, so sometimes there are some unique challenges there. Did I miss anything? Is there anything else I should mention?
I think you covered it all. I feel good about it. Your dissertation sounds interesting, and I think you said spatial abilities.
Yeah.
I should play your game. I have no spatial abilities, so I need some help here. I have to look at my hands to know right from left still. So I don't know if that's anything you guys needed to know, but there you go. David, you're next on my screen.
There we go. I can unmute. Thanks, Judy. I appreciate you being so friendly. I have to say I'm a little nervous right now, but hi, everybody. Yeah, nice. So I am a PhD student at Carnegie Mellon. I work in the Human Computer Interaction Department, Institute, we call it. After 5 years, you'd think that I would know the name of it. I work with educational technology, but specifically my interest is in how people learn to teach. And I use sensors and Wizard of Oz techniques in classrooms to gather concrete data about what's happening in the classroom and then report those data back to the instructor to give them information about what they're doing and what might be working for student learning and what they might want to adjust moving forward. I am working with Amy Ogan, is the PI on the project. This is my dissertation work, so it's very close to my heart, and I am brand new to Circle, so I will be excited to learn as much as possible. My reason for being here, I want to find out what people are doing and get excited about that. I want to tell people about what I'm doing and hope that they're excited about it as well.
Awesome. So raise your hand if you're nervous. Nobody else nervous? Okay. It's all good. So, and you said you're working with Amy. Amy's great. So Amy helped us plan the conference a couple of years back. So
sounds like something she would do.
Yeah.
And we did a perspective on her. I was part of the interview, part of the group that interviewed her for a perspective on Circle's website.
Yeah, awesome. And if you guys haven't spent time on the Circle website, Patty, if you want to type that into the chat window, that would be awesome. People can take a look and find people's perspectives. And it's Barry, is that right? Barry, you're next. So it says B. Joseph, but I remember it was Barry.
Thanks, Judy. Yep, I'm Barry. Can you hear me? Great. So my buddy's Owen Gottlieb. He invited me to come. I've known him for many years. I've never been to any of these events, and I'm looking forward to learning more about it, although I've heard about them in my periphery. I've worked for the last almost 5 years at the American Museum of Natural History, promo, where I'm the Associate Director for Digital Learning, video games, augmented reality, virtual reality, youth co-developing, visitor-facing programs, mobile learning, on and on. It goes on. All this stuff. That's what we've been doing. And for the last 17 years, I've been a youth development expert working with youth in New York City around technologies like this, learning through playing them, learning through making them, learning through sharing them with others. So as I learn more about the space and the ideas that are important to the community, I'll have a better sense of which aspects of this background will be more relevant to folks and who I'll be looking to connect with as a result. But I'm tremendously excited to go there, and if the small numbers of people who are here on the call are a good selective sample of who's going to be there, I'm very excited.
Yeah, no, the buddies are a great sample, and there will be 150 or 60 more people to meet when you get there.
Okay, now I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous. No, what it should tell you is that you're going to be pretty tired at the end of the experience because you're going to be going the entire time, and it's going to be like being a kid in a candy store. You're going to have so many choices and so many things to learn about, and you're not going to be able to do it all. But that's okay. That's a good problem, right? Nigel, is that you're next on my screen?
Yes. So my name is Nigel Bosch. I'm also at University of Illinois at the National Center for Supercomputing Applications. I work with Luc Paquette. I'm a postdoc. And he's in the education department in curriculum and instruction and does data mining work. So what I've been doing with him is trying to develop better machine learning methods for affective computing and behavioral detection. And right now we're especially focused on collaboration in learning and in trying to generalize models with deep learning transfer techniques to build models that work across different populations where they didn't before. I'm fairly familiar with NSF because they paid for most of my graduate school, but Circle not so much. So that will be interesting to learn about. I'm also very excited to meet a lot of people, and that's already happening, it looks like.
Great. So Patty is next on my screen. You want to introduce yourself?
Patty Shank, and I'm a co-PI, which means principal investigator on Circle. So my background is computer science, mostly human-computer interaction. I came to SRI after grad school at Berkeley, where I I did computer science and a little bit of AI, and I looked at individual reasoning. And since I've been at SRI, I'm mostly focusing on collaborative applications around learning. But for Circle, I do the website. I kind of manage the budget. I write some of the content. If you're on our newsletter, you'll get the newsletter. We're sending it today. I do a lot of that. So I know I call people, I interview them. I do a lot. I'm kind of a jack of all trades on Circle. So happy to answer any questions about reimbursements, getting a perspective on the website. If you know of a project that you want to know more about, I might know the people. Just like Judy. Judy talks a lot to the many PIs that we end up, interacting with. That's a general go-to if you have any questions about Circle.
Yeah, and don't ask me about reimbursements because I don't understand money at all. So talk to Patty about them.
Oh, and we will talk about that at some point, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then we said the word perspective a couple of times. So perspective is your profile on the Circle website, and it's not you can do one on your own. You can interview somebody else and write them up together and send them in. We love having a diverse group of people, so we highly encourage that. It's a great way to tell people about yourselves because you're coming into this community new. So we love to feature people. You should be able to click on perspective. It's at the top of the website, and then find the form. And if you can't, just email either Patty or I.
Yeah, and if you want to do a perspective, we'd love to feature you on the website.
So next on my screen is Mariana.
Hi, can you hear me? Okay, great. So I'm a doctoral student at Columbia University. Our program is called Cognitive Science in Education. And I work with Kathy Chase on her project developing an invention coach, which is a software that scaffolds kids to create their own inventions for density, speed, and hopefully we'll add a couple more lessons. And we're looking at basically different ways to scaffold invention and to give different amounts of feedback, different types of feedback to see what works best for learning and transfer. And then my own research is similar in that I'm also looking at invention, but I'm looking at what motivates students through the invention process, which can be very uncertain and kind of weird and different from what they're normally doing in school, but also better for transfer. So looking at kind of how they're motivated through that process, what makes them curious, and so on. So let's see what other questions are on here. I'm very familiar with NSF. This is the second NSF project I've worked on. Not super familiar with Circle, but I'm looking forward to learning about that. And this will be my first Cyberlearning conference, but a colleague of mine was a buddy last year, so she told me all about it. So I'm really looking forward to kind of meeting everyone, learning about the kind of research you're doing, specifically seeing at how other people are looking at motivation and using instructional technology to kind of help with that lofty goal.
And Kathy's project that Mariana was just talking about is a spotlighted project on our website, and it's also on the Circle Educators blog. We cross-posted, and I'll tell you a little bit about the blog in a moment, but we will move on. Arij, is that how you say your name? You are muted still. There's a unmute button.
I just hit unmute. Did it work? Okay.
Yeah, you pronounced it correctly. Thanks. So I am Arij. I'm a graduate student in the Educational Technology Master's program.
We can hear you, but it feels like the sound is very far away.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm a student at Arizona State University. I work with Dr. Ruth Wiley from Center for Science and Imagination. The center now is working on transmedia engagement and public engagement with science. In the center, I'm focusing on instructional design work and learning aspects in different projects. I'm familiar with some NSF projects, but this is my first NSF event or workshop to attend. I'm looking forward meeting graduate students and learning from the work different professors are doing now. So yeah, I'm excited.
Sorry, I hit the wrong button and ended up in a different place. Well, we're very excited you're coming too, and look forward to hearing more about all of your work. And we had somebody else join, Zach, it looks like, and we'll get to Zach in a minute. I have one more person. We're going through everybody's introductions, and we also have this recorded. So if you want to hear everybody else's, you can go back and watch the recording when we get it up on the website. Sorry, Ethan, you are next on my screen, and you are a Buddy alum, I believe. So welcome back.
I am. Can everybody hear me? You good? Okay. I don't have a mic, so I don't know what's recording me. But yeah, so I'm a Buddy alum. This is my second year. Technically, I'm not a Buddy this year. I'm coming on my own funding because it's that great. It really is a great meeting. So I'm a third-year PhD student at Georgia Tech. My dissertation focuses on prototyping in early-stage design processes, and with a specific interest in freehand sketching. So yes, sketches are prototypes. And so a lot of my research is focused around a project and a software that we've developed with Texas A&M called PerSketchtivity, and it is an online sketching tutor that uses artificial intelligence to teach the students how to sketch in perspective. If you want a username and a password, I can get you one. I'll give you my email. It's in like the alpha version though, but it's an excellent program. It's gone very well, and we've looked at things like how it impacts students' retention rates and GPAs, along with more tangible things like their spatial visualization. I heard somebody else, I think Helen, talked about that a little bit, and their overall self-efficacy in design. So yeah, like I said, this is my second year, so I already kind of know what I'm expecting at the meeting, but it's a great place, especially so we've only put our product in the college classroom, but it's a great place to talk to teachers and administrators from the high school or lower K through 12, and it's a great resource to have them say things that we wouldn't think about as researchers or programmers, say things that they would like to see as teachers. And we've actually, as a result of some of the meetings last year, we've added some features to our own product, including a teacher dashboard so that they can see how the students are progressing. And that was part of that came from a conversation I had last year. So, for the grad students in the room, it's definitely a valuable resource. So ask a lot of questions.
That is awesome that you added features. That's great. So Zach, you want to introduce yourself? Do you prefer Zach? And I did mute you when you came in because it was making a little bit of feedback, but I can unmute you and you can go ahead and introduce yourself. Oops.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm Zach from Kenya, and my work is I support teachers to integrate technology into teaching and learning of maths. And I've been supporting teachers in Kenya and other African countries. And I've been introduced to Buddy by Dr. Eric Hamilton, and we are collaborating with him on a project of media making clubs that are affiliated to schools in the US, Kenya, Finland, and Namibia. And the purpose of this project is to get students to make digital artifacts, including videos, short films, games, and other applications that would represent and explain STEM phenomena that as successfully as possible to others. And these clubs consist of students aged between 12 and 19. and teachers who collaborate across the network.
We are very excited you're coming all the way. I'm going to mute because I'm getting feedback. Sorry. Let's see. I can't see. There we go. So we're very excited you're coming, and Dr. Hamilton always is doing interesting things. He does a lot of work internationally. People should get a chance to say hi to him. He's also at Pepperdine. We have actually quite the Pepperdine contingent. I teach at Pepperdine part-time. Pati is a grad student, and Eric is a professor there. And I feel like we have one more person, but I'm blanking. So there is a little Pepperdine group, and then we have the Illinois group too. So we'll have to like face off or something. I'm not sure. We'll figure that out later. Or we'll collaborate, because that's what it's really all about. I'm going to move on to slide 2. We're half an hour in, but we can do this. So you all heard CIRCLE, no E, the Center for Innovative Research in Cyber Learning. We are funded by the Cyberlearning program at NSF, and I don't know if I have all my NSF slide is the next slide. NSF has a lot of different programs. We're funded by the Cyberlearning area, but Cyberlearning is also a cross-cutting theme. Yes, it is a dated term. Absolutely. When we started working with Cyberlearning in 2011, I thought I was transported back to 1990 when I heard the name. So yes, absolutely, it's a dated term. Over the last 6 years, it has become meaningful to me. I do like to think about it as like future learning technologies. And that's, I think, the program's official full name after the colon is something about future learning technologies. So I do like that part. Cyber, not so much, but we're stuck with it. So NSF, it's a program area, meaning they give out money to projects, and many of you work with a PI who is funded by that area. But it's also a cross-cutting theme. So there are other programs at NSF that do cyber learning research. I'm sorry, I didn't give you the slides. Yeah, I think this is it. There you go. In 1 second, we'll get to different programs at NSF, but specifically going back to CIRCLE, that is funded by Cyberlearning, we really do try to help make connections within the community for projects, for people to meet each other. If we know of projects that are similar, we try to get them talking. The conference, we don't have to do that. They find each other, and that's the really important power of the conference, is the networking. And we will do a lot of networking time at the conference. Our conference is very active. I hope you are not just sitting around in the back of the room taking notes. I hope that you are engaged in conversations the whole time, and Ethan is nodding, so I think he's gonna say it's easy to jump in. You're gonna have a lot to say. You're gonna have a lot of reasons to jump in. So we really do try to think about how to address common needs, to think about what is coming next for the program, and how to create broader impact. We've had several efforts in this way over the years. We've done Partnering for Impact, which is to really think about how to have researchers and industry folks partner. And we've done a lot of work to think about teachers and schools, because teachers and schools are the reason I'm here. I don't want to be doing research that's not out there helping real kids learn. So I've worked with teachers for a long time. So we do a lot to try to really amplify what is happening in the research community, because researchers aren't always the best marketers. because we're too busy doing the research, as it should be, but we really should be telling other people about the great projects and getting our work out there. So really quickly, Circle Center on the slide, you'll see 3 lovely little logos. SRI Education, EDC, and NORC are the 3 organizations who run the Circle Center. So EDC and SRI do most of the work, and NORC evaluates what we're doing, and Circle. So some of the folks from NORC may want to talk to you guys as buddies. And I'm going to go on. There's another slide. The next slide tells you there is an area on the Cyberlearning site, the Circle site, that talks about how to get familiar with Cyberlearning. If there's things you think we're missing, please let us know. We're constantly adding and trying to make sure we're explaining it well. There's lots of ways to connect to Circle. We're in Facebook. We have a web page, or a page there. We tweet. Patty mentioned our newsletter is being emailed now. Please sign up for our newsletter if you haven't already. Lots of good stuff every 2 months in there. And then we have an about page. We have primers, and primers are documents that give you an introduction to a topic in cyber learning. We're constantly adding to them. We're constantly looking for people to tell us what we need to cover and help us write them. So if you have a topic that you're interested in, that's actually going to be some of the things we're going to talk about at the conference, and I'll tell you about that in just another slide or so. I'm gonna, I guess on this page, which is the 3rd slide, I have a link to NSF about, is this the general NSF link? Sorry, I'm gonna look, or the Circle, or the Cyberlearning. This is the Cyberlearning page, so it tells a little bit about the history of the program. There are different directorates at NSF, and within each directorate they have different programs. Cyberlearning is actually 2 directorates that fund, and I've linked, I think, to the size directorate page, but we're also funded by EHR, which is the Education and Human Resources side of things. So NSF really did put a lot of thinking into, computer science is super important and learning is super important, and we really need to have people talking together and to figure out how it can become even more powerful, both instances even more powerful by coming together. So I can give you just a second, or actually I'm kind of wanting to push on a little bit. Are you guys good if I keep going? Okay, so we'll go ahead and go on to slide 4 and talk about the Cyberlearning 2017 conference. There is a link to the program on our website there. Please take a look at it later. I'm going to talk you through working sessions right now. Working sessions will be, well, actually, let's take a moment and everybody go ahead and click on the Cyberlearning program. I'm sorry, I do want to go through that. So if you click on the link, then you will need to click on the program tab when you get to the Circle website. Everybody with me so far? I'm seeing nods. That's a good sign. And thumbs up. I love it. So in one moment, we'll talk a little bit more about the Buddies Dinner. You can see on the program page, the Buddies Dinner starts at 7 p.m. on Monday. And that is optional, but we hope you can make it. And I will ask a little bit more about that in a second. Tuesday morning, we start bright and early. We do have breakfast. We'll do some welcoming remarks and have NSF help give us a bigger picture. We have a networking activity. Everybody will be up and talking to people and meeting people right away. We go right into that, into our roundtable sessions, and that is 2 or 3 papers at a table, and you will choose which table you want to sit at. The roundtable topics are listed if you click on the roundtable link in the program, but don't take time right now to decide where you want to go, but you may want to figure out what you're interested in beforehand. When you get to registration for the conference, you will be asked to select a little ticket for your roundtable, because we're trying to get people to be distributed evenly and not have 40 people at one table that only seats 10 people. So you should know that if you go if you can't get to the roundtable, it was your first choice, you might be able to sneak in, but don't tell anybody I said that. But you can also choose choose your second choice, and know that it's only an hour, and you probably will get to meet, something and learn about something really interesting. So that's one thing to keep in mind at the conference, is that things are pretty short and pretty fast. So if it's not your first choice, it won't last forever. And if you don't learn something interesting, come talk to me and let me know, because I'll go talk to them and find out why they didn't tell you something interesting. Yeah, exactly. But it should be, wherever you end up should be really interesting. Okay, so we're down from roundtables. Keynote speakers, we're having Jeremy Bailenson and Mary Helen Imordino Yang on the first day. Jeremy is going to be talking about VR, and Mary Helen Imordino Yang is talking about emotions and learning from a neuroscience perspective. I'm super excited about both of them, and of course, the 2 topics I'm super interested in, because I work on VR stuff and I'm super interested in neuro. They're both on the first day. And right after our keynotes, we have lunch, but then we have expertise exchanges. And for both keynote topics and for 4 other topics, there's 6 total, we have expertise exchanges, and I have to decide between my 2 favorite topics. So once again, kid in a candy store, you have to make choices, and you won't get to see everything. We don't have the cloning technology that we so desperately need. That's another group at NSF, I think. So, okay, so are you with me so far? That's the first morning. Down to 1 p.m. we do expertise exchanges. Patty, do you want to say a few words about expertise exchanges? I know you've thought a lot more about them, and that would give me a chance to breathe for a moment.
Sure. They're kind of a professional development kind of session. It's where you kind of go to learn about something new that you're not familiar with. So to contrast that with like the next set of sessions, which Judy will talk about, are working sessions. That's to kind of make progress on a problem. But the expertise exchanges are, we kind of found experts in the field to talk about, kind of give a really quick overview of the field, or at least the part that they care about. And then it's an hour and a half, and to use at least half that time for just question and answer or some activity. So it's not an hour and a half of them talking at you. It's maybe 45 minutes of them having a panel of 2 or 3 or 4 people kind of saying something important about that area, and then trying to get the folks in the room either involved in some little activity or asking questions, having Q&A.
Thank you. That was really helpful. Does that make sense? So again, do take time to look to see what's being offered each day, so you can, so you're not forced to make really hard choices all day long at the conference. Know kind of what you want to do and where you want to go ahead of time. So moving down to working sessions, which we can go back to the slides to look at. I summarized, except I lost my window because I have too many open. There we go. There are 6 topics, because we apparently like the number 6 this year. Actually, we had 6 rooms. That's why you're going to hear the number 6 so much, because there are 6 places we can split people up into. So there's a document, and I've linked to it underneath the bullets, called NSF Big Ideas. And many of our working sessions come from the Big Ideas document at NSF. And last September, we being Circle, started looking at this document and really thinking about things that were important to NSF and that overlapped with cyber learning research. So one of the things about this conference, and I should have said this earlier, you may have noticed that the title is What's Next for the Field, the title of the conference. The program area currently is not being renewed, but we, the people in the community, think it's a really important program area, and we want to make sure that we have a way and we know what's next and where to go for the next piece of work that we want to do. So the Big Ideas have several places that NSF is very excited about moving forward and sees it being really important to the United States, the economy, to people, for the way the world is going. So these Big Ideas are things that NSF cares about and things that we care about. So I actually have a document in the text that says, please let us know which session you'll attend. I have a Google form that I would love for you to fill out and let me know where you want to go. In that Google form, I also ask you if you can attend the Monday night optional dinner, which I will tell you a little bit more about. So if you're going to go click on that form to fill it out and tell me where you're interested in going to the Big Ideas, great, but also tell me about dinner. So the 6 areas, if you click on the working session link, you will get more descriptions of the 6 areas. You can also read about the Big Ideas in the documents that I've linked to on here. So you don't have to fill out the form today. You are welcome to fill out the form today if you know where you're interested in going already. But as Patty said, you will sit down with the people who also go to that topical area, and you will potentially take a look at a solicitation and figure out how to put in more cyber learning friendly language if they don't have cyber learning kinds of themes in their solicitation already. Themes, language that you would care to see. You might think about a primer, which is how to introduce people to this topical area and what they should care about, and maybe what, you know, new research you would want to go. I'm blanking on, I'm trying to do this from memory, and my memory has now failed. We have reached my limit. So I clicked on the working sessions page. So I'm going to just quickly say, suggesting edits for a relevant NSF solicitation, I already said, writing a primer, writing a blog post for researchers interested in new work in this area, writing something for teachers, other practitioners, or ed tech developers that gives them a valuable perspective on this cyber learning area, or write a testimonial about your own work in the cyber learning community on this. So those are some of the activities that we'll do. And then at our conference, we don't like to prescribe, we like to suggest. So if there's an area or a direction that is not on here that you would like to take it, please suggest it to us, and maybe try to find some other like-minded folks at the conference and start your own direction. So the conference is really, you know, what you want to make of it. We hope that we've thought a lot about what we see as being important for the field. We don't have the answer as to what is next, that is going to be up to the community to create what is next. So does that make sense? Guys ready to go invent the future? Isn't that the best way to do it? Okay, so that's working sessions. That will be the last activity on the first day, and then we will have a day 2 of working sessions, but day 2 is a little different, and people are going to have opportunities to propose, or to find teams of people that they would like to propose a workshop with. And Circle will actually have more information about what we're going to look for, but Circle will be helping support these workshops that people will apply to do, and you'll learn more about it at the conference. And I can't tell you all the details yet because we're still writing them. So that's pretty exciting, is that it will be a way to continue what you've started at the conference. There will be some funding for that. Okay, so I'm on slide 5 now. I guess I should pause before we move on to slide 5. Any questions or thoughts? Or I've thrown a lot at you for 20 minutes. Go ahead, David. I think you're on mute, though.
Yeah, it just took me a second to figure it out. There's a lot of information about everything you've described so far, I'm finding, except on the round tables. When I click on the links in that page, they just cycle back to the same page. And I wonder if there's some hidden link somewhere that describes a little bit more detail about the round tables.
It may not be there yet. But it will be. Go ahead, Patty.
Yeah, I was just going to say we're printing a program, and that's all kind of getting frozen like today. So we waited until that was frozen to get the final text. It's probably being posted as we're looking. We just posted the workshop page yesterday. So we'll, I think actually we have someone down the hall working on the roundtables page now.
Okay.
So hopefully by next week, if not later today, that will be fixed, and other information about gallery walk and such will get updated too.
But the working session is the only thing we need to decide on beforehand?
So you don't even need to decide on the working session. One of the things is, if you are interested in a topic, the person coordinating the working sessions had asked to know the buddies who are interested in different topics, because she wanted to make sure you all were included. So she'll probably pass your name along to the leader of the one of the 6 topic areas, and then they'll reach out to you to see if you want to play a role in there. So I guess I should tell you all that, so you're not just blindly signing up and then getting this strange email. But we do really want to include you all in the conference and have give you a chance to have a lot of voice. So that's my hidden agenda there. That's no longer hidden. I should have told you that up front. Sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry for uncovering your secret.
It was bound to come out sooner or later, so thank you. So any other questions on pages or topics? So you will be asked to choose and get a ticket for roundtables. Expertise exchange, you will just go where you want to go. And working groups, you will just go where you want to go. And the reason I'm asking is because we do want to know to help get you involved. Make sense? Questions? So who's still excited about the conference after all this? Awesome. The thing that was the most fun comment I heard as we were planning the conference is one of the program committee members. He said, after every program committee meeting, I am so much more excited about the conference, and I want to go. And I thought that was a really good sign. So here you go. Okay, so let's quickly go on to slide 6. We haven't started tweeting heavy force yet for this conference, but we would love help when we do. So if you do tweet, make sure to follow Circle Center and retweet. And one of the things, you guys have a lot of colleagues who are not PIs and who may be interested in seeing the keynotes and the webcast, and I'm going to be starting to send out more information about the webcast. So people can, attend the conference virtually for a small portion of it. We have very few plenary sessions, but we are webcasting those. So please do help spread the word. And then during the conference, we have gallery walks. We love it when you take pictures and talk about it via Twitter, or one of the things that I think is on my next slide, not this slide, is there's going to be demos at the gallery walk, and there's going to be posters too. But one of the things that I really would like to have happen is to have people write about any of the demos that they saw from their perspective. And on the next slide, there is a link to our Circle Educators blog. And I'm working to get more Cyberlearning. Pati's written for it. I have another teacher who writes for it. I've written for it. But to get more voices out there, and maybe you could even write about your own project or your own demo if you wanted to, and we could publicize it. So it's a great opportunity if you're interested. So if a tweet is not long enough for you and you want to do a blog post, let me know and we will hook you up. So let's see. So if you take video and you need help sharing it, I'm sure most of you are more savvy than me. We'll help you share it, but I'm sure you're all fine. But if you do have any questions, let us know. During the meeting, don't be afraid to introduce yourself. I know it does seem like it's going to be a little scary, but Ethan, was it scary?
I didn't meet myself. No, not at all. Everybody's really accepting there. Everybody's excited about just cyber learning in general. So especially if you are a K through 12 teacher or a grad student, everybody wants to know about what you're doing in your classroom or what you're doing in your research. So they'll ask you a lot of questions about yourself and in turn tell them all about yourself. We're all academics, so that's what we like to do, talk about our research. But yeah, it's not at all intimidating.
Yeah. And Pati, do you have any remarks to make about the experience?
I agree. I mean, starting with the buddies dinner, I was surprised at how many really interesting people that I'd only read articles of their articles were around and excited to talk to you, interested in getting your feedback. So I definitely came out of my shell a little bit after that buddies dinner. It was a great way to start talking to people and to start realizing that I could just go up to whatever table or conversation and people would be interested in what I had to say as a teacher, as an educator. So definitely talk to people. Don't be afraid to go up to them, because that's what I ended up doing towards the end and made some connections. Researchers reached out to me afterwards. I even had someone come to my school just a couple months ago to ask questions about one of his projects and interview my students. So those are great connections to make while you're there. I'm really excited.
Thanks. So is there I was just going to ask Pati or Ethan if there was anything that I failed to mention that you wish you would have known last year. And I know I talked a lot. So just if there was any other words, I mean, don't be afraid and introduce yourself are really key pieces of advice. If there's anything else I missed,
No, you mentioned it, but get some rest because it is a lot. My brain definitely was exhausted by the time it was over in a good way. But yeah, get some rest. Be ready.
Yeah, both nights for me, I went out to dinner with, random birds of a feather dinner and stayed out rather late talking about, everything from research to not research. If you have business cards, print out a lot and bring them. People want it. I don't know. The buddy dinner is a great way to at least we'll all meet each other, or I won't meet y'all. I will not be there, but y'all will all meet each other. And there will be a few more people there. So that's at least a foot in the door. So the next morning at breakfast, you at least have a familiar face to say hi to. And are we going to have buddy tags or something?
Yes, we are. Thank you. I did have that on the slide, and I failed to mention that.
To you if you have a buddy tag on.
Yeah, okay. You will have on your name tag, you'll get a little buddy ribbon. So I don't remember if it says buddy or I think it says buddy, but yeah. And people said, tell people about your work. Absolutely. And don't be afraid to say, hey, do you want to join me for lunch and we can talk about this? If somebody's interested, start your own birds of a feather lunch. I have a couple of, I was on slide, let's see, I think I have a couple of slides, 6 and 7 are all on roles. So please do take a look at the roles and think about what you will do after the conference. I need to get to Monday night dinner, and I'm going to let Patty tell you about that because she was at the dinner last year, and I did not get to go to the dinner last year, but I'm super excited I get to go to the dinner this year. So Patty, do you want to tell folks about the dinner and what it's like and what they should know?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just finishing writing something in the text. Sorry. I was just going to say, our convenings are different from pretty much any other NSF-PI meeting that you may or may not have gone to. You probably haven't, but most annual meetings for NSF programs are for the people funded, the PIs. And our meeting is explicitly to expand the community. So half of it is funded PIs, but half of it's not. It's people like you and researchers who want to get into cyber learning. So it's a very different and some kind of a little more exciting in that way. You don't know who you're going to talk to kind of event. It's explicitly you'll find people, I think, very welcoming because it's explicitly for broadening participation. So the buddy meeting or the buddy dinner is Monday night. There's a restaurant in the hotel that we used last year and it was pretty good. It's mainly, Italian pizza. So I think there may be at least one person who is gluten-free and we'll need to talk to you about what to do if you'd like to come. But we pre-order salad, pizza, and dessert. And the way we pay for it is a little tricky. We had to figure out how to do this. As a buddy, you get reimbursed for your travel expenses up to a certain amount, which I'll talk about. But part of that is the meals per diem, which means dinner. We provide breakfast and lunch the 2 days of the conference, but the dinner on Monday night, Tuesday night, and we also include Wednesday night, assuming you're leaving Wednesday night, but you'd be traveling. The dinner is also an additional expense that's covered, and the per diem government rate is $31 a night. So we're trying really hard. We're making the menu come into that. But the way to pay it, a little oddly, is you have to bring $31. We hand it to Jeremy, the PI of the program. He uses that to pay the bill. And then when you do your reimbursement, there's a little box that says per diem for Sunday dinner. You check it and you write $31, you get that back. So that's the only way we could kind of do it under NSF rules, was to make it a reimbursement for you. But anyway, we hope that you can come. It's usually a really fun event. It's a small room, no more than 24 people. So we're figuring out, how many buddies are coming, and then we could let a few other people in, probably our program officers and Jeremy and us, of course. Did you want to say? Yeah.
I was just going to say Jeremy is coming. Jeremy Rochelle, the director of Circle Center, is coming, and you may know him from his research in collaboration and in math. and lots of other things cyber learning. So
yeah. So we'll be, I think Judy's going to maybe send an email and ask you to RSVP if you can make the dinner. And then if you so Judy and I are vegan, so there's going to be plenty of vegan and vegetarian choices. That's no problem. If you're gluten-free, that might be harder at an Italian restaurant, but we'll figure it out. So just let us know.
we did do gluten-free last year. We had a couple of gluten-free folks, so it's not, I mean, the restaurant can do it. They have some options. So yeah. So any questions on anything we've said so far today? It is 4 minutes late. I'm sorry we went over 4 minutes, but hopefully.
Say something about the reimbursement real quick.
Oh, sure. If you guys want Patty to say something about the reimbursement, if you need to step out, just wave, but listen to Patty. She's
listen to me. So we have a simple one-page form after the conference. You can get it online. We'll send you the link, or we'll give you a printed version. We'll bring the printed version to the dinner, and I'll have it with me. All you do is you have to attach your scanned, you can email them, whatever, but in a way you have to attach your receipts for flight, mileage, shuttle, hotel. We can easily cover the 2 nights hotel of Monday and Tuesday night. If you're staying later, that gets a little trickier for our because technically we're done at 4. But we talk to me about that if you really can't figure out another hotel or travel back on Wednesday night. We do have a maximum. Usually the maximum has been $1,000. It looks like it's getting a little bit more expensive this time of year. So. We have the leeway to approve a little more than that. So if you got a flight, you got 2 nights hotel, you tried hard, darn it, it's $1,200. It'll probably be okay. So you just talk to me about it if you think you're going over 1,000. If it gets to a lot more than that, then we might, it might be harder. But we certainly will. We can do 1,000. We might be able to do 1,200. And, it just depends on the circumstances. So I'll bring the forms. I'll have them with me the whole time, and it's online, and we'll communicate that through email. I'm not a tax advisor, but I will tell you that you will get a 1099 MISC next year. I've got these many times from other events. If you're using TurboTax, you put it on Schedule C, you can say that this was all a reimbursement for an expense and it zeroes it out. It actually is easy. You may not know how to do that, but you don't have to pay taxes on reimbursements. And it's a very simple thing to do in TurboTax. And I can tell you, but I will probably have to say you need to talk to your tax advisor, but trust me, it's very easy. So you can claim that you spent this on hotel and such. So ask me about that, not on a recorded session.
And don't ask me about that, please. So if there's any other questions, please email us, or I am purposefully emailing everybody together now as the buddies, so you should have each other's emails as well on the email threads. So I would encourage you to email each other, ask questions, and start taking advantage of this community that you're coming into. So I am super excited for the meeting and to meet you guys. This is going to be great, and I can't wait. And it's less than 3 weeks away, so that's the other exciting thing.
Exciting and scary.
This is our 6th meeting, and we always know how much work it is, but then you forget how much work it is. So it is wonderful.
Yeah,
it is worth it. So
it's a big part.
It's big. It's 180 people. So lots of people, lots of things to think about, lots of sessions. So feel free to talk, to ask questions, to stay around, to go do whatever you need to do. We're here.
You mean right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.